Someone needs to explain to me why do they stop traveling in one particular direction and then loop around and come back again. They perform this behavior so many times that we start seeing the tic-tac-toe grids in the sky. We're witnessing the giant X's. And I mean, Rosalind, when you and I grew up, these contrails naturally dissipated in a few seconds or perhaps a minute max. But these things expand, they grow bigger, and before you know it, the entire sky is overcast.
That's correct. And they are there all day. They do loop the loop around our county and our state. We follow them at times with spotters in different areas, watching the planes loop, come back around. And we know from the FAA records that the jets from commercial airlines fly in straight lines. And coming across our county, there aren't many, and they stay mostly in certain patterns. The jets that we see leaving the persistent jet contrails move in directions that normal jets wouldn't fly because it would use too much fuel and put them off schedule. And the jets that we see here do loops. We've got pictures of them looping the same X's and crosshatches. But I believe that some of that, not only are they looking for keeping something in the air almost all the time, but we feel that some of the markings are to mark the start and stop areas for their programs so that they can watch their experiments either from satellite or the ground.
Why do they want to keep this quiet? Why aren't they talking about this? Why don't they want us talking about it? And you can only come to the conclusion that they're hiding something.
Now, do you believe that this is a full-scale secret operation that includes not only the U.S. but Europe and the rest of the world?
Well, that's apparent because you can see the pictures from all over the world, and I get them constantly. Some areas are worse than others. The excuse for this is, number one, weather modification, number two, to save us from global warming, and number three, to save us from the terrorists. A lot of these programs, of which there are many patterns and which has been designated as wake vortex simulation carried out by NASA Langley Research Center, many of these operations and the patents go on to explain how if there is a biological attack by terrorists at some point, that these exercises and practices will, in a sense, save us with the spider webbery that comes down from the aerosol spraying, potentially gathering the chemical mass spray that could be sprayed on any given population. The problem with that is the terrorists don't have the means to deliver this. They don't have the access to deliver this over the American populace per se. And the only people who have been doing this, that is biological experiments on the American people, is the military themselves, which has been admitted from everything from Operation Shad to the spraying that happened in San Francisco, I believe back in the 60s and the 70s, that literally killed people.
Again, I may not be able to ascribe intent, but what I can say is that it is expected that there will be increased mortality as well as the potential of a huge host of unknown pathogens that we are subject to, and this is not based on speculation. There's a whole arena of biological research that we haven't even begun to touch on.
Could a strange substance found by a
with these
Southwest
lab results
Arkansas
about
man
the high
be part
levels
of
of
a
barium
government
found in our sample.
At a community in the San Bernardino Mountains has a real mystery on its hands. The official explanation here is that jet contrails are causing strange lines in the sky.
What effects barium has in the body. Short-term exposure can lead to anything from stomach to chest pains. Long-term exposure causes blood pressure problems. Ryan addressed concerns by chemtrail researchers that barium could be meant to wear down a person's immune system.
You're talking about dominating our air supply without the human consent in a way that is difficult for many of us certainly to conceive, and certainly many of us refuse to accept it even in the light of sufficient and overwhelming evidence.
Now, there's all kinds of stuff that I did find, which is very, very interesting. Here's some of the headlines. Ben Livingston, cloud physicist, has eye on hurricane control. Weather warfare, was Katrina a man-made hurricane? That come out of the U.S. Air Force. UN banned weapon system can trigger hurricanes, earthquakes, and tsunamis. Man may have to dirty skies to shield against warming. NASA awards $16 million liquid nitrogen contract. Split Aero Systems buys HARP. In the U.S., there were 53 reported weather modification projects last year with a combined price of more than $5 million. They do all this on taxpayers' money, mind you. U.S. Air Force linked to electronic warfare in Tennessee. Now remember, the heating of the ocean's temperature can escalate a hurricane, and ionosphere heaters like HARP can't easily heat the ocean's temperature. And, you might want to do a little research into HARP and stuff, because this stuff all ties in. A top NASA scientist says he's been silenced. This came out of ABC News. I mean, this is just over and over again. Obama's climate advisor open to geoengineering to tackle global warming. That come out of the London Guardian. This goes over and over again into what's happening today. I mean, it's not just something that they've done since the 90s. This is currently continuing, these projects. And they're doing it under the name of global warming. It says here, John Holdren, who is a member of the president's cabinet, said today that drastic measures should not be off the table in discussions on how best to tackle climate change. While his office insisted that he was not proposing a dramatic switch in policy, Holdren said geoengineering should not be ruled out. Holdren also says that forced abortions should not be ruled out, that mandatory sterilization should not be ruled out. This guy is a eugenicist. He wrote a book called Eco-Science. He's one of the top eugenicists in the country right now. And right here, it came out, Chemtrails, Obama's geoengineering plan for the planet mirrors Council on Foreign Relations document. And this stuff here, again, comes back to Council on Foreign Relations and everything else. I mean, this is crazy. It's a workshop on unilateral planetary scale geoengineering, and they've been doing this already. These are current headlines. Beijing blanketed by snow after China seeds clouds to beat drought. And this come out of the Times. City officials have been blasting chemicals into the clouds over northern China to create the first precipitation in more than 100 days. The first flurries fell on the capital on Tuesday. By Tuesday, more than 500 cigarette-sized sticks of silver iodide had been seeded into the clouds above Beijing from 28 rocket launch bases above the city, around the city. Oh my God. And then Time magazine reported, how did the Chinese create the snow? The method of cloud seeding used by the Chinese involves dosing the atmosphere with silver iodine, a chemical solution either dropped from planes or shot up from the ground. Oh my God, these supercharged cloud formations. And they're making it snow, or they're making it not snow. They're into weather modification. And this stuff is just, it's very sinister. Very, very sinister. And it's really tied into a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of stuff that it's tied into global warming and all the stuff that they're doing with that. Total abominations. And I'm next week I'm going to, the topic's